Chapter 59, Simplification of Radical Expressions. As pointed out before, the square of a factor comes out to be the square root of a factor comes out to be the square root of a single factor. Okay? So the square of a factor, if you have a squared, you get one of the pair that comes out. So the square root of 3 times 3 is 3. The square root of a times a is a. There's an additional a left in here. And the b should still be under the square root sign. That's a misprint unless that was supposed to be b squared. Okay. Remember that factor means simplification, and be careful. If you had the square root of a squared times b squared, that's a product. Then a comes out, b comes out as a times b. But if you have plus or minus, you cannot take out an a, you cannot take out a b. I'll show you an example of that. Suppose we have the square root of 288 times x to the 5 times y squared times z. You can factor 288 as 2 times 12 squared. 12 squared is 144. X squared is x to the 4th power. You have an extra x in here. The y squared is copied, the z is copied. The 2 stays inside, the x stays inside, the z stays inside, it's just power 1. 12 times 12 comes out as 12, x squared times x squared comes out as x squared, y times y comes out as y. That's as simple as taking a square root of a product or a quotient is. Again, not plus or minus, be careful. Example 2. You have 27x to the negative 3y squared over 3x cubed y squared. Leave no negative exponents. Okay? First of all, you have 27, which is 9. 3 squared times 3 times y squared. 3 to x to the negative 3 becomes 1 over x cubed. So one of the x cubed was here. The other x cubed came from the numerator. The y squared is still in the denominator, and y squared over y squared is just 1. You can forget about that. And 3 squared remains. 3 squared, that will come out as a 3. And x cubed, quantity squared, comes out as x cubed. Okay. So you have 3 squared, 3 comes out, x cubed squared, x cubed comes out. You could have done this slightly differently, but that's one way of doing it. Oh, here we go, method 2. You can take the square root of the numerator, the square root of the denominator. The square root of the numerator, you have 3 squared times 3, x to the negative 3y squared over 3x cubed y squared. Now you get, how about multiplying and dividing by x? I'd like to have an even exponent here. 3 squared is even, x to the negative 4 is even, negative 4 plus 1 is 3, that's the same as negative 3 here. The y squared remains. The denominator is 3x squared times x, again I want the second power, and y squared. So in the numerator, 3 squared comes out as 3. X to the negative 4 comes out as x to the negative 2. This x remains inside, the y remains inside, the 3 remains inside, and the y squared becomes a y. In the denominator, x squared becomes x, y squared becomes y. The 3 and the x remain in the denominator. Note that you have square root of 3x over square root of 3x, same thing, that's equal to 1. So you're left with 3 to the negative 2. You're left with y over y, which also drops out. So x to the negative 2 over x, which is 3x times x squared. X to the negative 2 is 1 over x squared, 3 over x cubed. The same answer we had previously.